So I noticed something strange about Amazon. If I search desktop microphone, Amazon's own Basics microphone is the very first thing you see. Featured from Amazon brands, it says. Then there's a whole line of sponsored products, which most people will probably want to filter out. And all of that is ahead of the desktop microphone, which actually has about 10 times the number of reviews and a lower price tag than Amazon's. So I actually bought both. So this is how the $26.99 Amazon mic sounds. It's actually pretty freaking good, but it's simple. And then this is how the $19.99 one sounds. And it is every bit as good, except this one also happens to have a pop filter, a fully adjustable stand, and RGB lighting baked in. And it doesn't even look cheap. Okay. How about gaming monitor? Amazon is top of the list, $147.99. Then you've got a sponsored post and a couple more items, but then it's this Asus monitor that feels like it completely outclasses the Amazon one. It's got about 30 times the number of reviews, and because it's on sale, it's also much cheaper. Again, I bought them just to be sure. And they're fairly similar. They've both got full adjustability. They can both go up and down. They can tilt, they can rotate 90 degrees, but the stand on the Asus does definitely feel heavier duty than this one on the Amazon. Oh yeah, and the screen is like noticeably brighter, but also just better color saturation too. You can tell the difference just looking at the wallpapers. Remember, the Asus is also the cheaper option here. You might think, as I thought a few weeks ago, that Amazon Basics was just 50 or so products that the company made to fill the gaps, just to make sure that there's always at least one product for any given search term. But that is not at all what is actually going on here. Basics has quietly become a massive operation. There are now thousands of Basics products, and it really feels like Amazon is abusing their unique position to allow them to take over. Like, the first thing that becomes absolutely clear when you start looking into this is, from the moment that Amazon Basics began, they have always been right where they need to be. Anytime there's a product category which is frequently searched for, but doesn't have a lot of brand loyalty to other companies, you will find Amazon. How do they know which product categories to get into? Well, Amazon knows immediately when a product type starts to sell well. They know how often it's being returned. They know which version of the product people like the most. They know if there's already a leading brand that people are specifically searching for. And while the company has already been threatened with some very serious fines for using this data to decide what products they're going to make, and have now agreed to not, according to more than 20 former Amazon employees, it's actually been described in the past as standard practice for them to have done so. Like in 2020, one of the best-selling everyday slings on Amazon was by the company Peak Design. It was $100, clearly designed to be a premium product. But then Amazon, right out of nowhere, dropped their own version of this, and spot the difference. It was such an egregious copy that the founders of Peak Design even made this entire video about it. How it looked the same, but didn't actually have any of the perks of their bag. How it swapped out the aluminium for plastic. How it didn't have all the recycled materials, the lifetime warranty, the fairly paid factory workers, etc., etc. Also, how sick is this? I can even carry on watching the video automatically when I leave that tab. It just floats around with me when you're using the Opera browser or sponsor. Amazon even went as far as to copy the name, calling their product the Amazon Basics Everyday Sling, until they saw that video and then changed it to the camera bag. Very smooth, guys. Point being, Amazon always finds a way to be there. And the other thing you'll notice is that anytime Amazon is there, as soon as they've decided that they're making a Basics version of a product, whether or not it's the best-selling or the top-rated item in that category, they'll find a way to use the fact that it's their platform anyway to stick them right at the top. Look at this, micro SD. There you go, Amazon, slap bang first position, and it's $17.99 for a 128GB card. That's actually not a very good deal. And you have to scroll past that and the sponsored listing, and then Amazon's one again to actually see that, because only then do you find this one from SanDisk. Okay, let me split screen this, because I want to make this super clear. SanDisk is 1.5 times the storage speed. It is 2 times the amount of storage, and it comes with an SD card adapter for just $2 more. And Amazon's algorithm absolutely knows this data. So if Amazon was a purely objective search engine, solely designed to get you to the best product for you, this SanDisk should have been right at the top. But it isn't. And then there's the overall pick, or Amazon Choice badges, which Amazon awards to a high quality, well-priced, and immediately available product. Which, that makes sense as far as criteria goes, until you remember that they've designed the criteria, and in many, many cases, it's their own products that are winning their own choice awards. Now, this has already been a big point of contention. Amazon has already been investigated to make sure they're being fair and transparent with how the badges are allocated. But here's the thing. It doesn't actually matter who they give the badges to. Like if we search, what's the new one? USB-C cable. Okay, So look, Anchor is the overall pick. They have the badge, which makes sense. Their product is at 104,000 reviews compared to the Amazon Basic one, which has 15,000. But even though Anchor is the overall pick, it is still sitting below the sponsor post, which sits below Amazon Basics' own brand listing. So even though Amazon's kind of telling you that Anchor is the product to get to, I guess, comply with all the regulators, it's not showing you that product unless you scroll. Again, I bought both. And to be honest, the Amazon cable does feel like the cheaper product. Very plasticky. It feels like the old Apple Lightning cables compared to the woven finish on the Anchor, which makes me feel like it's going to last a lot longer. And just to be clear here, I wouldn't call Amazon Basics products bad. They're never the most expensive. They're not scams. Amazon's entire product takeover strategy, it wouldn't work if the product sucked. But the problem is that they're also rarely the best value option, especially when you factor in other products being on sale, and that they're being shown to you instead of products that might be better value. Plus, this power that Amazon has is kind of self-fulfilling. Like, if they had the ability to just plant their not best-selling product above the actually best-selling product, which is exactly what happened when Amazon decided they wanted to make AA batteries, they just stuck theirs in front of Duracell and Energizer, then surely it's just a matter of time before more people start buying Amazon's product, until Amazon actually becomes the bestseller option, at which point Amazon can happily hand themselves the bestseller badge and no one can even complain that they're not. Trust me when I say I'm not cherry-picking examples here. Amazon Basics comes up first pretty consistently, whether you're searching for printer paper or cotton buds, pens, pencils, even freaking pants. Amazon is making them and you can be sure they're putting them first. So what is going on here? Are Amazon trying to kill every seller? But then that doesn't seem like a good strategy. Aren't those sellers the reason that people go to Amazon? And doesn't Amazon make tons of money from them selling on Amazon? And then the other weird part of it is that even though Basics is often not the very cheapest option, surely Amazon is still making basically no profit on these products. It seems like every Basics product is specifically chosen to be a very replaceable, low-cost commodity. Basically tools that are purchased solely for a simple purpose. That also means there's very little money in them. Like, to set up the manufacturing for these 30 pencils, to create packaging, then to list them, then to send them by next day delivery, handle returns, to do all of that for like $4, why would you bother? Why not just let another seller do all the hard work, and because you're Amazon and you own them, just take your cut from them? Well, that is what I've been trying to get to the bottom of, and I think their master plan is starting to become clear. So we've talked about how Amazon is not afraid to see what works based on what other companies are doing and then just do it themselves. Like how back in the day, the company Rain Design, who had the best-selling laptop stand, found that their product had been almost one-to-one copied by Amazon, with pretty much the only thing changing being the logo. But there's one vital piece of information that makes this a whole lot more threatening, that Amazon can undercut everyone. See, you might know that Amazon charges every single seller on their platform fees. There's a monthly subscription fee, about $40 a month if you want to be a professional seller, but also a referral fee for every sale. So this is a percentage cost of the item's sale price, anywhere between 8 and 45% if you're selling accessories for a product that Amazon themselves make, like a Kindle. But overall, these fees average around 15%. Amazon, obviously, doesn't have to pay their own fees. So no company can actually price themselves as low as Amazon can when selling on Amazon, unless they either decide to make much less or zero profit, or they find a way to source their items at a significantly lower cost than Amazon. But it won't be the latter. If you're a seller and Amazon decides they're making the same product as you, Amazon's bigger than you. They've got the power and frankly the clout to place orders in much bigger quantities from suppliers and actually be the one getting even better rates than companies who've been selling these products for years. So their costs are going to be lower than yours. But here's the extra little sprinkle on top. If you're a seller on Amazon, your entire objective from your sales is to make profit, right? You have to add a bit of extra markup to your goods to even make the whole thing worth it. Otherwise, what are you even doing there? But Amazon doesn't even have that restriction. Amazon doesn't need to make a penny of profit on these Basics products because they're not in the business of product sales. I mean, Bezos himself once said, we want to make money when people use our devices, not when people buy our devices. So Amazon wins just by people being on Amazon. Because the more people there are, the more people will pay them monthly for their Amazon Prime subscription, and then the more they will start to buy into Amazon's other services. Because paying for Prime puts you essentially in the heart of Amazon's ecosystem. It's almost designed to lead buyers towards Amazon Prime Video and signing up for Amazon Music and Kindle, and even adopting Amazon as your main grocery store thanks to Amazon Fresh. All of which to say, as a seller on Amazon, you're competing against a company who isn't playing the same game as you. There is a positive that comes from this. Like, let's be honest, Amazon's logistics are pretty unmatched. At least here in the UK, it's the only company who I found I can actually trust to deliver next day when they say they're going to deliver next day. And so to be able to buy a still fairly affordable product that's made by Amazon does give me reassurance that it will just work as it says it will. It will get to me on time, and it will be returnable very easily if I then decide I don't want it. Like, this is the $28 Amazon Basics Ultra Premium keyboard and mouse, and I'm very satisfied with it. The chassis is made of metal, the keys feel really satisfying. It arrived at my doorstep 18 hours after having placed the order. But this still doesn't fully answer the question. It's clear how Amazon Basics gets such a leg up compared to third-party sellers, how Amazon basically forces other companies to be more expensive so that they can stay affordable compared to them, but it still doesn't explain what is Amazon actually gaining by becoming a seller themselves? Well, I think this is the very crux of it. See, Amazon.com, the website, actually has two main revenue streams from sellers. We've talked about the obvious one, which is the percentage fee that they take from every sale, and this is the bigger part of their business. But the other one has been right under our noses this whole time. Sellers paying Amazon to appear higher in searches. Let's say, hypothetically, Amazon wanted to grow how much they make from this. How would they do that? Well, by making it harder to compete if you're not paying that fee. So let's just go back to batteries for a second, because I find this so strange. So Amazon Basics has the best seller badge. We've already talked about how they got to that. And then over here, also the overall pick badge. Then the only products you see from their key competitors, Duracell and Energizer, the ones that used to be at the top before Amazon Basics got involved, are only there because they paid Amazon extra, on top of their monthly seller fees and on top of their per product referral fees. And even then, they don't have any badges. They have to have this sponsored label, which makes them seem like ads, and therefore not as good as the Amazon products, which are just allowed to organically be there. And also, they still come after Amazon's own product. So I think the primary purpose of Amazon Basics is not to generate piles of cash in direct sales. They are good enough products sold at good enough prices, and they leverage Amazon's unique position to essentially create a frenzy in which sellers have two choices. A, to either start offering something that's exceptionally good and take almost zero profit for themselves, which, that's going to boost the number of buyers who want to keep paying Amazon's monthly Prime subscription. Or B, to essentially enter a bidding war, trying to outpay each other to compete for the only remaining visible area up for grabs, those sacred sponsored slots. I was actually reading a guide for sellers the other day by Expando, and it literally spells out third-party sellers must invest in sponsored ads and promoted listings to get their product seen by customers. It's not an additional extra, it's a requirement. And in both of these instances, Amazon makes a ton of money. And Basics is actually just the start of it. You search for coffee pods, you see Happy Belly, owned by Amazon. You search for dog food, you see Wag, owned by Amazon. Amazon even has 206 Collective for shoes, which, funnily enough, has also been accused of blatantly copying the design of the Allbirds wool runners and then selling them at less than half the price. These brands are the same thing, using all the same strategies. Like Salimo in India, for whom a leaked internal document literally spelled out that their objective was to replicate products based on data from Amazon Marketplace sellers. So next time you shop on Amazon, just scroll a little further, because there's a pretty decent chance you'll find a better deal. It's so cool that I can pause and then carry on playing my music from the sidebar no matter what page I'm on. Link below to get the Opera browser for free.